done. That's what I'm talking about.
In my focus, I wanna get it on till I die. In my focus, I wanna get it on till I die. Y'all remember me? Y'all remember me? In my focus, I wanna get it on till I die.
Ladies and gentlemen, this video is basically only going to be directed towards whoever's left at 343 CA, whoever's working on Halo Wars 2. It's been a year, all right? It's been a long year full of ups and downs. A lot of great times, a lot of bad ones, Forjog. But during this year, I've been wondering how do you guys get your data? And I always thought that like they looked at, looked at like, top players, the top percent of players playing like ones, stuff like that, and what they were doing, and seeing maybe, and they're probably looking at what the lower percent of people were struggling with and things, so that they could slightly adjust those. But I've been reading for like the past 2 months. I've been reading a lot about StarCraft 2 and other RTS games, other giant series such as Command & Conquer and things like that, and how they balance their games and how they made their games as great as they were. And they did it by basically just patching the game at the highest level, and then everyone eventually just followed suit, because everyone's always going to get better, right? Yeah, you can't. It's funny, people make fun of people and stuff saying you're getting worse, but no one actually gets worse. People just get better at a different rate. But the thing that's conclusive is everybody will eventually be better than they are now, than they were. They'll get better in the future than they are now. It's just this is the way gaming works and everything in general. The more you do something, the better you get at it. But the thing about Halo Wars 2 is it's an RTS game, and most of the players right now are on console. And it is, I'm not going to lie, it is difficult to play RTS games on console. And but it's doable, and once you get used to it, it's actually not as difficult as a lot of people make it out to be. And I can say this, and I would actually, bet everything that I've ever owned on this, that I have the most hours played on console RTS games than anybody on planet Earth. I mean, I'm saying that seriously. I'm not saying that with a big head. I'm not saying that, just being the best, or things. It has nothing to do with that. This is the truth. I am 100%, 99.999% positive. I have more time playing RTS games on consoles than anybody who's ever lived. Okay, and that's because I literally only played console RTS games with a side of a few other games throughout my gaming career, dating all the way back to Command & Conquer on Nintendo 64, and Red Alert on PlayStation and things like that. That's what I enjoy. I enjoy being able to play a hard game, laying down, sitting in a chair with a controller. It's fun, and RTS games just they help you think and stuff. And really quick side note. For the people that are still watching, that watch my videos and Twitch regularly, this might come as a shock, but the truth is the way I act on forums and YouTube videos and Twitch, it's all a show for you guys, and I do it solely for entertainment purposes and things like that. I'm literally probably the opposite in my everyday to-day life than I am in my videos and stuff, but it seems to work. People like the way that I act on there, so I just and then I just enhancify it. I make it 10 times more crazy on those. But the thing that is true, and that will not waver or change in any way whatsoever, is that I really do care about the future of this game. It is really the only RTS that we have available to us on console right now that is still receiving balance updates and is not trash. Where can I go with this? The thing is, and this isn't refutable. This is the truth. This is going to hit a lot of people. This next patch that hopefully we're getting, if we're going to get it at all, which I'm assuming we are, it'll probably be our last patch. There will not be another patch after this next one unless this one comes out really fast, and then they come out with one afterwards. We're at the end. I'm pretty sure February. I've been telling people this for a long time. I'm pretty sure from all my information I've gathered, February is the end. And if the game isn't balanced by then, we're going to be left with a horrible game and a very bad state, because the mid players, even the higher level players and things like that, they don't know about things that are broken. I'll state an example. The devs have no idea, and the top level community really has no idea. Even the best of the best players, they don't know. This game is going to turn into the way the air is. I'll come back. I'm going to work my way around on this because I have to come full circle so that people can understand what I'm about to tell you. Right now, okay. First, it's important to say, before this last patch with the AA buff, I'll be the first to tell you, the only good player to tell you, that air was actually not in a good place. People think that air was that anti-air and all that was in a good place. It was not. The truth of the matter is 120 pop air was still difficult to deal with. Yes, anti-air beat it. Yes, blah, 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 blah. This combination and that beat it. But the problem with it is that air, it's in the wrong role. We're having the issue where air is a building killer instead of a vehicle killer, and that's incorrect. You shouldn't be flying around sniping bases with Hornets and Banshees. You should be flying over vehicle armies and microing air to take out vehicles, and your snipers to take out infantry, and your anti-air to take out air and things like that. That's how the battle should be going. But instead, people have this mindset that Banshees, Hornets, Sentinels, and things like that should be attacking buildings, and they should be avoiding the anti-air and just sniping buildings and stuff. And they're sort of right, because that's the way the game is currently standing. And now here's the thing. Now that you understand that, my solution to anti-air was never to buff the AoE or anything like that. It was simply to make the anti-air one less pop, and it would not affect the game. I mean, in 1v1s and stuff, and even in 3v3s, the lag isn't that apparent with the population as a problem. The only thing that I've seen that drops frames and things that are abilities and whatnot, the population of the game, and by population I mean the unit pop, hasn't seemed to have been an issue for the Xbox. The Xbox seems to have handled the amount of things on screen pretty well. So kudos to the devs for that. But moving through to things people don't know yet, the game is going to be turning into a nasty, nasty Kodiak fest. And a lot of you were like, what? What are you talking about? Well, here's the thing. The only way you could actually have beaten Anders and Serena Kodiaks basically until last patch was air. If you had them spread out and you bunny hopped them all over the place, and what I mean is you put them all within range of each other but not too close together, you were basically able to push anyone by slowly creeping forward with that force of Kodiaks, and nothing really beats that. Nothing on the ground can beat that. It's actually terrifying when someone pushes you with that and you don't have a way to sneak out a condor or something of that nature. Kodiaks are devastating, and I like it. That's the way they should be. Now the issue becomes, now that air is basically useless due to the AoE buff and things like that, all they have to do is keep a scout on you every once in a while, and the second they see you pumping a little bit of air or have more than one airfield, I mean, they're just going to build like 4 or 5 of their anti-air vehicle, and they're good to go. I mean, they can just beat you down as you build your air, and by the time you even get a sizable air force, they're already on Tech 3 vehicle. They're already at 120 pop. They've got their anti-air that they need. They don't need that much anymore. And they're going to be pushing you and keeping you on one base with Kodiaks. And I know a lot of you were like, that's crazy talk. Well, I'm telling you, I've never been wrong about the meta. Not once in the history of this game. Every single time a new patch has come out, I've been correct. And that's not me being headed again. That's just the truth. You can actually go back, watch all my Twitch videos, all my YouTube videos. And if I called the meta, that's what it became. And right now, Anders and Serena are looking for that. And Now, right now, they're not. That's not the meta. Only because Forge and Arbiter can beat that. They can currently Forge and Arbiter can get through that. But obviously, this next patch, people are going to be complaining all over the forums about Forge and Arbiter, and the devs will have no choice but to nerf those in some way, shape, or form before they, they turn their priorities to other games. But yeah, so that's going to be turning into the meta after the last patch, and I don't want that to happen. We need to put air back into its correct role, which is vehicle killing. And how I propose this to be done is we need to revert the anti-air buff from the last patch. It needs to be reverted. Like, I'm not saying this as we should revert it or this is a better opinion. It's not. This is the truth. It needs to be reverted. Okay? Anti-air shouldn't have as much splash as it does. I shouldn't come out of an air battle with Decimus Banshees and stuff. 100 plus population of whatever anti-air that I am using. That's just ridiculous. I mean, I understand it's a counter vehicle, but that's ridiculous. We don't want, obviously, Forge to be OP. The idea behind Forge is maybe just get rid of his buff aura, being so powerful, and, make Grizzlies not, absolutely wreck everything right now. I mean, Grizzlies are really great. I mean, they're so powerful, and I like, because that's what they're supposed to be. They're supposed to be super powerful units, but they're really hard to counter. And even for like experienced players, once that gets up with a Forge Hog buff around it, you're really not going to deal with that Forge Hog, or along with some Grizzlies and Wolverines. That's a disgusting army. It's disgusting. And I think one of the best ways to balance that is to revert a patch a while back. I believe it was that Nightingales are now healing Grizzlies faster. That needs to be reverted, or at least changed or toned down a bit. They shouldn't heal as fast as they are under a Nightingale. Also, if you can make it so that Grizzlies actually don't receive the buff from the Forge Hog, I could go with that as well. There are a few options, and I am more than happy to discuss it with any developer that would, want to talk with me about it. I mean, all I want is this game to succeed. I mean, a 10-minute phone call with a developer, and I could do so much. I mean, I'm only putting out this little video now to see if it actually gets through to somebody. But moving on a little bit to what I was saying before, AA, like I said, it needs a buff versus vehicles, not anti-air vehicles, but, Hogs, Grizzlies, Ghosts, Marauders, Scout vehicles, regular vehicles, Tier 3, Race, all that. It should absolutely melt them. And they shouldn't do as much damage as they do to structures. People have to get out of their head that their Hornets and Banshees are for base killing, because they're not. That's not their role. It shouldn't be their role. Leave that to, like, I don't know, a blister back building damage or something, and vultures. I mean, that would be okay with me. Another huge issue is the Retriever Sentinel. I mean, that thing is so ridiculous. I mean, I don't know how that wasn't patched. I don't understand. We need to there's a couple lines of thinking here, the things that you could do. I don't care how you do it. The Retriever Sentinel, number one, I mean, obviously the team you guys have left is probably pretty small, but if you can make it so that it's like the regular Sentinels, when you unlock it, it's buildable from the base instead, I could go along with that. But another thing that you could do is, if you can't do that, up the price on it up substantially. If you could also do this where once you've used the Retriever Sentinel, the cooldown doesn't restart on it until it's died. So once the Retriever Sentinel dies, the cooldown then restarts. Something that's happening now is you keep the Retriever Sentinel alive so long by using the shield and abusing the shield, just regenerating over and over and over again, that by the time you finally do kill it, you've already got another one ready to go, and you just drop it, and it's just heartbreaking for players to see that happen to them. Another thing with the Retriever Sentinel is the shield. It needs about 100%, 200% debuff to its shield, not in terms of the shield itself, but in terms of the cooldown on it coming back. The shield on the Retriever Sentinel comes back way too fast, and I mean seriously, way too fast. Other than that, I'm pretty happy with Anders. She's been all over the place. I think she's probably received one of the most patches of all the leaders. A lot of nerfs, a lot of buffs. But I do believe you guys did a good job with Anders, other than the Retriever Sentinel being kind of OP right now, but that's due to other things. Yeah, moving on to Serena's Ice on nodes and things like that. The slowdown is way too much. Hopefully, I know you guys know about that. Hopefully, you can look into that and get that patched. The other thing, though, the big elephant in the room among top players and other players is Tech 2 comes online too fast. I mean, that's just the truth of that, man. Tech 2, I mean, Forge getting it at like 2 minutes and 20 seconds and 2 minutes 10 seconds, and other leaders just going straight to hogs because they can. It sucks. I mean, I've tried. The only thing that I've found that I can do that's an actual like aggressive play against other good players that are rushing to Tech 2 is like I have to go like barracks first, and that's like basically an all-in. That's not even a rush at that point. That is me going balls deep, balls to the wall, on them. And once again, sorry for the green screen. I don't really have really cool shit to make my videos cool, but yeah. Moving along to scout vehicles, all of them need to do more damage to jump pack, all specialized infantry, all building killer infantry, such as jump pack brutes, the guerrillas, the flamers, cryo troopers. They all need to do more damage to them. All scout vehicles need that. I mean, that's just standard. There's a few other things, but one of the things, if you guys do manage to fix all those things and you got a little bit of time left, another thing for the longevity of the game is if you could get a way to remove the HUD in spectator mode for all the content creators and things like that, and not the whole HUD. Leave the minimap, but like remove all that crap in the corner, like press the left trigger to switch players and all that. We already know all that. We figured it out. I mean, you can turn that off once you figure it out. And I only want to be able to see the minimap, and then the screen should be blank, and you should be able to watch the match accordingly. That would be great for spectators. Really, once again, thank you very much for actually getting Spectator out. It's one of the greatest additions to Halo Wars. It's probably the greatest addition to Halo Wars. Pretty stoked with that. But now moving on to sort of near the, I don't know, maybe near the end of the video here. But I'm just going to tell you, the way you guys are reading and interpreting the data that you guys are getting about the state of the game is wrong. I read somewhere that YAP seems to be an issue to you guys, but YAP is at the bottom of the tier list. That's just showing that you're just wrong. Funnily enough, when I go to my account right now and I go to multiplayer and I look in my career, it says my most successful leader is Yap Yap. It means I must have played him like 5 times and won 4 games versus some noobs or something. But yeah, Yap is garbage. The leaders that need addressed right now are Forge, Arbiter, obviously. Maybe a little bit more tweaking to Vortis and Pavium, but I'm not going to talk about all that in the video. I'll make a list or something, and you can go look at Naka's post. I think that Cyclops need a little bit more health right off the get-go, maybe like 5-10% more health, and I think they're good. What else? Oh yeah, obviously, Phantoms from Arbiter are OP right now. I don't know how you guys will be able to change that. I without breaking the game and making Arbiter useless in the terms of Phantoms, the best idea I could think of is actually up the population of the Phantoms from 3 to 5 pop. And no, that's not actually drastic, and that's not gonna. You're simply like, well, what's that gonna do? That would fix Phantoms. I guarantee it. Make Phantoms 5 population, that'll fix it. Same thing with anti-air. You want to make anti-air Wolves 3 pop and Reavers 4. And that'll fix the air problem. As long as you revert that splash damage buff you guys gave. And so that'll be good on that. Yeah, and like I said, all the people that are watching this and maybe disagreeing, I don't care. I'm done caring in terms of what people who don't know what they're talking about. This isn't, like I said, this isn't Waypoint. Like I'm gonna come at your neck if you're gonna jeopardize the future of the game that I play every day. Of course I'm gonna come at you. I'm not gonna sit here and let you spit out wrong information. You can have your opinion, but if you have no, actual evidence or skill to back it up, keep it to yourself. That's why it's an opinion. Keep it to yourself. We don't need to hear it. I'm not putting out an opinion right now. I'm putting out actual facts among the top players. And the game, and I'm going to circle back around to what I was saying at the beginning of this video, the game has to be balanced at my level, at Savior's level, at Metalloid Monkey's level, at Almirante's level. We are at the peak of the game. We're there. You know, like, there's no one surpassed us. There's no one going to... Most of the players will probably... And big. This is a very elitist thing for me to say, but it's true. Most of the players, I would say 80% of the players in Halo Wars 2 will probably take another 6 months or 9 months just to reach where we're at now. And that's okay. I have no problem with that. I really don't. I mean, a lot of people don't play as much. They don't care about the game as much. And that's okay. But where the devs need to understand is they are going to get there. It's going to happen. The game needs to be balanced at the highest level now. Not at the mid-level, not at the bottom. It needs to be balanced at the peak performance of the players playing the game now. Because people only get better, as I said before. They do not get worse. The game, for them, is going to change. For us, it will not. Not much. So if you're going to balance this game, and you're going to have this one last patch, probably, maybe 2 more, balance it for the longevity of the game. Let's not throw in a quick fix to appease the mass of people where their skill level fluctuates every day. Eventually, they're going to get up to where we're at. That's just the laws of the game. It's, you know, laws of nature and gaming. You're going to get better. And I'm sure that everyone has their opinions on what should be patched and what shouldn't be and things like that. But the fact of the matter is you can't take the data that you're getting and balance the game from that. It's just, that's not how it works. You can get a general idea of the data helps with finding things that may be broken and things that are maybe exploits and things like that. Because I'm sure the data show that like all these players are going colony, all these players are getting, you know, their leader points so fast. You know, Forge Hog meta. That's what the data is good for. You don't have to read. You don't have to just talk to the players to know that what's broken and what's exploited. But if you want to balance the game, and you don't want to, here's the truth. If the developers, if any of you are watching this, if you care about the game that you spent a year, 2, 3 years making, this is what you have to do. You have to balance the game in this. If you want to leave this game knowing you did your best, you need to balance this game from the top player's perspective, and you will know when you leave that, well, the game's balanced to the best of our ability, and all the players will eventually see that because they're all going to get to the level of where the game's balanced. And if you guys do that, I'll have nothing to say. None of the other top players will really have anything to say. Well, no, you did the best job that you could. And we'll be content with that. However, if you go and you leave this game without fixing Phantoms, without fixing Forge, without fixing the Retriever Sentinel, without making anti-air in the correct spot, I think the developers will regret it. Any of the people that made this game will regret knowing that they left a game to die. You've basically chopped off some guy's leg, left him in the desert, and just walked away, knowing that you could have picked him up and carried him out. I mean, just with a little bit of effort. I mean, that's probably a horrible analogy, but you get what I'm saying. But yeah, I really hope that you guys, whoever stuck around to watch this video, probably only my loyalist viewers stuck around with this, but most importantly, hope one of you devs watch this video, man. I'm sorry I had to lay in a little bit, but I care a lot about this game. I play it every day. A lot of players do. A lot of people do. And like I said, I've played console RTS my entire life. As sad as that is, it doesn't even make sense to play RTS games on console. I've been told that my whole life, but it's what I enjoy. A lot of people are like me the same way. And I'm going to tell it like it is just in case. If I didn't make this video, like I would have regretted it. I mean, I would have been like, maybe if I made that video, maybe if one person saw it and told a dev, or maybe if a dev saw it themselves and they thought to themselves, okay, well, we can fix this. We can put the game in the right direction before we move on to bigger, better games, which I'm sure you guys are, and that's just the way the world works. But there's still time. You can still fix the game. Yeah, like I said, sorry about the green screen. Thanks for watching, and make Halo Wars 2 great again. This is Yoda. I'm out.